Hi everyone, Flavia here and welcome back to my channel. Today we are diving into a spooktacular crafting adventure with the Spellbinders August 2026 subscription clubs. I was able to create some really fun Halloween themed note cards, and I will be showing you not just the different clubs that I used, but also walking you through how I created each one of these fun designs. So let's get into it. So let's begin with the embossing folders for August 2026. So here we have the 2D embossing folder, which is named Happy Jacks. And here is an example of the fun pattern that we can add to the cardstock when using this embossing folder. And here on my right, we have the 3D embossing folder for August 2026, which is named Spooky Web, if I'm not mistaken. So the fun thing about the 3D embossing folder for this month is that with just one folder, we are actually able to add two different patterns to the cardstock. So notice here that with one half of the 3D embossing folder, we're able to create a web pattern, and then with the second half, we can add a different design. And remember that when it comes to embossing your panels, both sides of the cardstock looks great. So we have the embossed side and then the debossed side, and we can use either side. So this month's 3D embossing folder is actually 2 for 1. And again, here is the 2D embossing folder for comparison. So both folders are the same size, however, they deliver different amount of texture and the designs are different, but all within this month's theme, which is Halloween. So let me move this out of the way so I can show you now the stencil of the month, which is Peekaboo. This is a layering stencil set with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different layers that we can use to create a really fun and colorful panel. And here is just one example of the panel that we can create with the stencil club for August 2026. Again, just like with the 3D embossing folder, the stencil club also will allow us to create a panel that is big enough to cover the front of an A2 size note card. Moving on, here we have the present for you of the month, which is named Boo Humbug. So with this set, we can either do the hot foiling technique or the letterpress technique. And this month club comes with one large image that we can stamp onto the cardstock, and we also have these copper color plates. There are die plates, so we can use these plates to cut out the pieces to make a really cute ghost. If you choose to do the letterpress technique, then know that this month's club comes with this alignment guide. And here is an example of the super cute ghost that we can die cut and assemble. Regarding the sentiment options, with this set, we have one that reads Boo, now leave me alone. The second option is I tried to be nice, it was terrifying. And then we have the third option that reads Boo Humbug. And last but not least, aside from the alignment guide, we also get a ink pad, a small letterpress ink pad that we can use to do the letterpress technique with this set. So that's it for the present foil of the month. Now I want to show you the small die for August 2026, which is named Boo Crew Lab. So with this set, we have lots of plates to cut out really great elements to create note cards for Halloween, such as a stack of books. We also have many options for candles and even a Frankenstein face. And over here we have the plates that we can use to cut out a Halloween beaker with bubbling poison inside. And I think this might be my favorite plate, which we can use to create a super cute ghost, such as this one. So here are all of the different die cut pieces that we can cut out and assemble using this set, such as my favorite ghost. We also can cut out some bats into different sizes. We have 3 candle options with scary faces. We also have a Frankenstein cake with a pumpkin on top. Then we have some books down here that we can stack, and here is the beaker with bubbling poison inside. Another club that Spellbinders offers is the large subscription club, which is this one named Boo Mobile, and here are all of the different plates that we can use to cut out a really cute car like this one with a ghost as a driver. Then we have some witch legs over here sticking out. We can also create a witch hat that we can actually add to this die cut eye with wings. It would look just like that. We also, let me see, we can also cut out two different banners to create the sentiment Hey Boo, and we also have metal plates to create a skull like this. And here is the whole die cut ghost. I love that with this one you can add the arm and you can make it hold objects if you want to. So that's it for the large subscription club for August 2026. Moving on to another die set. Here we have the Stitching Die Club. So this month's Stitching subscription club is named Frankenstitch, and with this plate we can cut out long pieces like this that we can stitch on. Notice here that the metal plate cuts the tiny holes that we can use to stitch, and it also leaves impression on the paper to indicate where we need to stitch. So these long pieces are supposed to be the bandages for the mummy, and you can cut out as many pieces as you like. With this set we also get these two plates to cut out the teeth. We also have plates to cut out the eyes, the eyebrows, and things got a little bit messy here, but down here we have these two round oval pieces that is supposed to be the cheeks, and we also can cut out the letters to make the sentiment Trick or Treat that I will show you in a minute. So this is the Stitching subscription club for August 2026. Moving on, now I want to show you the Clear Stamp and Die subscription club. If you are a subscriber to any of these clubs, I highly recommend you also subscribe to the Clear Stamp and Die of the Month, because Spellbinders stamp sentiments are just the best. They go really well with the current month's subscription club's theme, and the sentiments are always very fun and clever, such as Cute but Potentially Cursed. This is perfect to be used with the super cute die cut ghosts. We also have this one that reads The Spirits Made Me Do It. Then we have this one up here that I love, Haunted by My Life Choices. And this one down here that reads Hope This Raises Your Spirits. And right in the center we have this really fun image that we can stamp and color if we want to. And just as usual, we also get the coordinating die plates to cut these sentiments out if you want to. So that's it for the Clear Stamp and Die of the Month. Last but not least, before I show you all of the note cards, I want to show you the bonus items for the All Clubs Crate subscribers, which are these two sets. So the bonus items for the August 2026 subscription clubs are two die sets, two very exclusive die sets, and they are so much fun to use. So this one comes with some really basic shapes that we can use to actually cut out eyes, mouth, and teeth to make really adorable Halloween monsters. And here are the different shapes that we can cut out with these plates. And I have lots of card examples that I want to show you in a minute. And here on my right, by the way, this is the Make a Monster die set. And here on my right, we have the Scaredy Cat die set, another exclusive. So with this set, this might be one of my favorite sets for this month, because with this set, we can cut out a large cat that is big enough to cover the entire front of an A2 size note card. So it's very easy and quick to create a note card with this set, because this cat will cover the entire front panel and all you have to do is add a sentiment. So here are all of the plates that we need to create this angry cat. We have the option to add a pumpkin on top of its head if you want to. And to make this cat even scarier, we can add a collar with a skull charm And we also have a plate over here to cut out the sentiment Eek. So that's it for all of the different subscription clubs for August 2026. And as we can see here, I just had too much fun with these clubs, die cutting and assembling the pieces, and the good thing is that I ended up with lots of extra pieces that I can use on future note cards. So without further ado, let's take a look at all of the note cards that I created with these clubs, and I hope this video inspires you to get creative as well. So the first card that I have to show you is this one, this black one. Regarding the envelope, all of today's note cards come with a black matching envelope, and most of them have a cardstock strip that I cut from the same color as one of the colors that I added to the front panel to make everything match. And I did stamp the sentiment, hope this raises your spirits, over the cardstock strip. So this is an A2 size top folding note card. Inside we have the hand stamped sentiment that reads cute but potentially cursed, and at the front we have that black cat that I created with the exclusive die set. Notice here that the background panel has a lot of texture thanks to that 3D embossing folder, and for some sparkle I did die cut the collar and the Eek sentiment from Mirror Gold cardstock. So to make this very dark front panel, I used two different types of black cardstock. So onto the background we have the Spellbinders Black Shimmer cardstock that I dry embossed. And to die cut the pieces for the black cat, I used just regular heavyweight black cardstock. So that's it for the first note card. Moving on, here we have a fun Halloween note card with a cardstock strip glued to the flap of the envelope and a hand-stamped sentiment. Again, this is an A2 size top folding note card. I think all of the note cards are top folding. And inside we have a different hand-stamped sentiment that reads Happy Halloween. So regarding the background panel, I began with a yellow piece of cardstock that I dry embossed using 1/2 of the Spellbinders 3D embossing folder. And then I went around the edges with dark orange ink just for fun. For the sentiment, I did stamp Haunted by My Life Choices, and then this time I decided to die cut it. And in the background we have some die cut bats, and here the focal point of this note card is this fun and glittery car that I created using metal plates included in the Spellbinders large subscription club for August 2026. Notice here that this die cut car has a little bit of movement, and that is because I added, let me see if I can show you, not sure you can see, but actually I have some extra pieces. So behind this die cut piece, I added these two large wobble mechanisms. Maybe if I had used just one, it would have more movement, but since this is a really big die cut piece, I decided to use two mechanisms so it doesn't wobble as much. I guess it does, but it still adds a lot of dimension, which I like, and it really stands nicely on display. So this is a great note card for decorating your house. Moving on, here is one note card that I created using the Spellbinders stencil set for August 2026. So inside we have Happy Halloween, and I added white panels inside so we can have a place to write a personal message. And at the front we have the stenciled panel along with some black gems here and there for some sparkle. However, before I added the gems, I did hot foil the sentiment. I tried to be nice, it was terrifying, using one of the sentiment plates included in the Press and Foil subscription club. And to hot foil this sentiment, I used an orange color of foil. So this is tangerine foil. Moving on, I actually want to show you two note cards at once. The two monsters that I created with these basic shaped die plates, one of the exclusive die sets. So to make this note card, I began by die cutting the mouth using this plate. So that was the first thing that I did. And then I dry embossed my panel using the other half of this 3D embossing folder. After that, I adhered all of the other pieces, such as the tongue, the back of the mouth that I cut from black cardstock, the teeth, the eyes, and the sentiment. So for this one, I added the sentiment trick or treat using those plates included in the Spellbinders Stitching Die Club, which are these plates over here. So that's what I use for the sentiment for this monster over here with green eyes. And for this one with red eyes, I added the sentiment ick up here and then down here. And to cut this out, I used a different club, which is a plate included in this other exclusive die set. So these are the two little monsters that I created with one of the exclusive die sets. Now, let me move this out of the way so I can show you the next one. So this one comes with a black envelope. However, instead of adding a cardstock strip, I added a die cut piece that I cut from golden Miro Gold cardstock, and I love it on black cardstock. So here again, another note card with a hand stamped sentiment inside and a die cut bat just for fun. At the front we have a dry embossed panel. So this is again Spellbinders Shimmer Black cardstock. And this was actually one of the last note cards that I made, so I used all of the extra pieces that I had. So I used different clubs to cut out these pieces to make this scene. And for the sentiment, I did stamp the sentiment, hope this raises your spirits. And then I heat emboss it with fine golden powder. I actually haven't done the heat embossing technique in a while, and I love the result. It used to be one of my favorite techniques. I don't know what happened with that. So yes, that's it for this note card. So let me show you the next one. Here we have a second cat, very similar to the one that I showed you first, this one. But for this one, I decided to add the pumpkin hat that I cut from glitter cardstock. And again, this one has a different stamped sentiment that I heat embossed with golden powder. This one has the sentiment that reads, "Let's eat candy and church people," which is hilarious. And then inside, we have the hand-stamped sentiment that reads, "The spirits made me do it." By the way, for the background, I actually had this panel around. It was an extra panel that I created a long time ago, last year actually, because to dry emboss this, I used this set by Spellbinders, and I think it was released as a subscription club for last year. So this is the Gilded Weave by Spellbinders, and we have this great plate over here that we can use to hot foil a panel that is big enough to cover the entire front of an A2 size note card. By the way, I use black foil to do the hot foiling technique onto this dark green panel. So that's it for this note card. Here we have another one with a black envelope. Inside we have the sentiment Happy Halloween and two die cut bats. At the front we have this panel that I dry embossed with this folder, the 3D embossing folder by Spellbinders. I began with an orange cardstock, a lighter color, and then at the bottom I added dark color of orange ink. For the sentiment, I did stamp the sentiment, "Hope this raises your spirits," onto a piece of orange cardstock, same as the base of this note card, and then I die cut it. And regarding the focal point of this note card, this cute scene, I used different plates from different subscription clubs to come up with this scene, and I love the result. Next, here we have a note card that I created featuring the Stitching Subscription Club. So this one has a hand-stamped sentiment inside, and again at the front we have the bandages that I die cut and stitched on with white thread. For the sentiment Trick or Treat, I did die cut it twice so I could stack them up for dimensions, since these letters are very thin and small, and the last layer is from red cardstock. And then for some sparkle, I did go over each die cut letter with a shimmer pen. And I think I used foam adhesive behind the die cut eyes for some dimension. So that's it for this note card. Moving on for the last set of note cards. Here we have the note cards that I created using the Spellbinders Press and Foil subscription club, which is this one that I showed you earlier. So I used this plate for this one, I did hot foil the shadow ghost. So notice that the black ghost has a little bit of sparkle. It's glossy because I used black foil to do the hot foiling technique. And for this one, I did do the letterpress technique with black ink. And then I die cut the cute ghosts from white glitter cardstock. For the sentiment, I did hot foil both sentiments using golden foil. So this one has the sentiment, "Boo, now leave me alone." And inside we have the hand stamped sentiment that reads, "The spirits made me do it." And then this one has the golden sentiment that reads, "I tried to be nice, it was terrifying." And then inside we have a hand stamped sentiment that reads, "Let's eat candy and judge people." And this one comes with a black envelope with a cardstock strip and a hand stamped sentiment. And this one, it actually has a hidden embossed sentiment that reads, "Happy Halloween," and two small die cut bats. And I don't know if it's showing on the camera, but this one has golden shimmer all over it because I actually sprayed this whole envelope with a shimmer spray that I haven't used in a while, which is this one. And that's it for this note card. By the way, to cut out these fun arched panels, I used an older set by Spellbinders, which is the Essential Arches die set. So for this one, I added the arched panel to the front of an A2 size note card. And for this one, it actually has, the base is arched because I used the largest plate included in the set to cut out a fun-shaped note card from an A7 size note card. So I basically used the largest plate, placed it over an A7 size note card, making sure to offset this side, the left side, so it wouldn't cut this side at all. And that is how I ended up with two connected pieces that I can now use as a card base. So this completes this video, and I hope you enjoyed watching and felt inspired to create some Halloween themed note card. Everything that I used to make today's note cards is hanging out in the description box below. And if you're watching this video from the future, hello from the past. You will see updated links for the current month's clubs. Plus, there is a handy All Clubs archive link where you can find some of the past clubs that are now available as regular products. So go explore and have some fun with it. Thanks for spending this time with me, and see you in the next video.